don't think the game's over.
Not done. We don't want to give up.
I don't think the game's over until...
Not done until the clock says 0. We don't want to give up to the clock says 0.
I don't think the game's over until triple zeros on the clock, triple zeros on the clock, triple zeros on the clock.
That's right, everybody. Welcome into another episode of Triple Zeros. Gonna do a quick one with just me today. It's hot. It's October 1st, and it is very hot in the Midwest. 83 degrees right now, and it's nighttime. That's not even cool. Literally, I'm in here sweating. But we got a great show for you lined up. Got a lot to talk about, so we're gonna get right into it. First thing I want to discuss, man, it's a lot of backup quarterbacks. Week 4 in the NFL. A lot of backup quarterbacks have been playing. A lot of them have had some success. As you can see, I got a little ticker going on at the bottom there. Trying out something new. Let me know if you like the ticker. But there's a lot of backup quarterbacks, and I was just wondering how many of them can sustain the success that they've been having. We saw the Jacksonville Jaguars being led by Gardner Minshew. They went and took care of business. You saw Carolina Panthers. Kyle Allen didn't have a great game, but they still left with the victory, so he did enough. I guess you could say this in spite of it, but it still seems like he did enough. Who else? What other backups do we have going? You got Jacoby Brissett. He's not really a backup anymore, though. He's the guy at this point. Washington Redskins and the New York Giants faced off, and you had the two rookies, Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins. Daniel Jones' team 24-3. Dwayne Haskins didn't look good either, but he was not prepared. He did not start that game. Case Keenum started that game, so there's something to be said for that. I mentioned Kyle Allen. The Panthers beat the Texans 16-10, and you got Teddy Bridgewater filling in for Drew Brees. That's a 12-10 victory over the Dallas Cowboys at home. And then you had Mason Rudolph taking on the Cincinnati Bengals at home, thumping them 27-3 with a lot of razzle-dazzle and magic wizardry in the play calling, as they did a lot of side-to-side things and got the running backs involved heavy. So the question really is just, is it sustainable for any of these guys? Who of these guys can make it happen between the likes of – when I forgot about Matt Barkley is possibly getting the start in Buffalo with Josh Allen suffering concussion against the Patriots. You just wonder, out of Carolina Panthers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, New Orleans Saints, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, which of those 4 teams can really sustain the surge that they've enjoyed behind their backup quarterback? And I think when you look at it, the one that's the most questionable, I would say, would have to be it's really a tie between the Steelers and the Panthers, and here's why. The Steelers have the system, right? But we were questioning whether or not they had the firepower with Big Ben healthy. Now they have to get Mason Rudolph in there, and we saw that they had to do a lot of, as I said, razzle-dazzle to get the ball moving and to get points on the board. It's fair to wonder if going forward teams will figure that out and if they can adjust. Now, that could have just been a one-game thing to get Rudolph comfortable, but that's not going to work every week, point blank. Jacksonville beat the Denver Broncos 24-26 or 26-24. That's tricky too. No, what's tricky about that is, they have Nick Foles recovering from the torn labrum, the shoulder injury that he suffered in week 1, $88 million quarterback, week 1 injury. That's terrible. And Gardner Minshew, all he's done is going. Now the Jags are just 2-2, but Minshew's been a leader. He's been elusive in the pocket, and he's been able to find his receivers on time and accurately. The question has got to be asked, has Jacksonville found their long-term answer, and is Nick Foles now expendable? And you hear some rumors being bandied about now with the injury in Chicago to Mitchell Trubisky, if maybe the Bears should reach out on the limb and try to make a move for a Nick Foles. That's probably not one that I would do. That's a lot of money on a guy who has had little to no success outside of Philadelphia and that system. Even though it's the same system, still that's just a risk that I'm not sure that I'm willing to take, but I do understand why some are interested in it and why, if they did pull it, why they would do it. But I think Carolina is going to run the ball and they're going to play good defense. You saw Kyle Allen didn't play well and they still got the victory. So that was probably the most of a coin toss, because that defense can be lights out, but we've also seen them get torched sometimes. You just hope that Cam comes back healthy long at the end of it all. But in the meantime, if they can keep winning behind Kyle Allen, then if they can keep doing what they were doing behind Kyle Allen without him having to play great, then when he does play well, it's just going to be gravy. So that's something to look out for. But I think the one that has the best chance for sustained success is probably Teddy Bridgewater and the Saints. That offense is ridiculous. It's very multifaceted. So the level of it is not like it is when Drew Brees is operating, but it's still a very, very creative, effective offense led by Sean Payton. And as long as he's there and you still got Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas and the defense is balled out against the Cowboys. So that one I think has the most legs. Remember, Teddy Bridgewater was a starting quarterback in this league for the Minnesota Vikings before his horrific knee injury took him out for a year plus time. Didn't even think he would play again. So I'm actually glad to see him playing for making that comeback. I'm a big fan of those kind of guys. Him, remember Sean Livingston, who just retired from the NBA. That was a guy that I followed actually coming out of high school. I'm getting sidetracked. But yes, the least sustainable is probably going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers because of all the gimmick in that offense that we saw on Monday night against the Bengals. And then the most legs to it is probably that Teddy Bridgewater in New Orleans setup because, like I said, Sean Payton, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. You still got Ted Ginn who's pretty fast, and the offensive line they do their job. And that defense stepped up, and we know that they can play at a Super Bowl, or we'll say a very high caliber level. We won't call it Super Bowl because they didn't make it with them, but they have a very talented defense when everything is going right for them. So I don't know if we'll see any of the high flying Saints, but I think we'll still see a very effective and potent Saints offense. And conversely, that Steelers system is going to have to evolve beyond the gimmicks and the wildcat. They ran a lot of wildcat with Jalen Samuels. That's not going to fly. We've seen it, and it just takes about a week or so for teams to pick up on your tendencies when you run it, and then they're going to start loading up the box and daring you to beat them deep. We'll see. Mason Rudolph had a successful career in college at Oklahoma State. Likes to throw it deep. You know how that system is. So we'll see, like I said. But recap, most legs, New Orleans and Teddy Bridgewater. Least legs is Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh. The next thing that came across that I had to ponder about looking at these scores, the NFL's biggest surprises and disappointments so far. Now, you have a few teams who are 3-0, most of which we pretty much expected, right? It's not a surprise when you look down at the division and you see the Patriots are at 4-0. Excuse me, I said 3-0, 4-0. See the Patriots at 4-0. You see the Kansas City Chiefs at 4-0. You see the San Francisco 49ers. That's the biggest surprise to me is San Francisco. And you wonder if that's an early schedule and they're catching teams off guard, or if this is really how they are. I lean more towards the former only because no one saw this team operate for an extended period of time with Jimmy Garoppolo, and the plethora of weapons that they now seem to have at their disposal. So as we see, they mix and match who is doing what, who's the primary target outside of George Kittle, obviously. Kyle Shanahan has a very multiple offense where any given moment it can be any player, any guy is going to be the stud of that day. But they're sitting here at 3-0. They're coming off their bye this week, and that's a surprise. There can be no bigger surprise than the 49ers, who had the second overall pick in this past draft, being 3-0 to start the season. The biggest disappointment, though, we're going to stay in the NFC for this, and that's the Atlanta Falcons at 1-3. I'm not sure what's going on with this team. They seem to be struggling part of what's wrong with this team is the injuries that they keep sustaining to their defense. Another year, another rash of serious injuries. They lost their safety, Keanu Neal. They're just getting tagged by left and right. They gave up 27 points to the Colts in week 3. They gave up 20 to the Eagles in a victory, mind you, but it was still 20 points then. And then they gave up 28 to the Vikings in week 1. And this past week, as you see scrolling down, they gave up 24 to the Titans while scoring 10 themselves. Now, Tennessee has a very solid defense, but I'm not sure that anybody would guess that they would hold the Atlanta Falcons with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, Devontae Freeman, and Matt Ryan slinging the ball. And then you got Justin Hardy mixing in just for what's and giggles. No one would have pegged the Tennessee Titans to hold the Atlanta Falcons to 10 points in the dome. That's the part that is the kicker right there. They did it while Atlanta was at home. They let Tennessee roll in there, a mediocre at best team. And I'm being really generous here calling Tennessee mediocre, and they're still only 2-2. So Atlanta can't be feeling too great about where they are right now. They have to be wondering what's going to come of this season. You know, it's still early, but the comeback from the basement in the NFC South at 1-3, they're below the Panthers right now. It's one game. Panthers 2-2. But at 1-3, their chances of making the playoffs are slim and growing slimmer. They can't afford another loss. Next week you will see them take on the Houston Texans in Houston. Houston's defense has been balling lately, so it's going to be interesting to see if Atlanta can right this ship. They have the firepower. They should be much better than they are right now, but that's my biggest disappointment. Biggest surprise has been hands down San Francisco starting off the season 3-0. And right after them is probably Buffalo at 3-1. They just lost this past week to New England because it's New England. So you can really kind of say they're 3.5. We're not going to go there. They're 3-1 right now with that loss, but they have to be feeling great. Aside from the fact that Josh Allen suffered that concussion, hopefully he gets back soon, and they don't have to suffer any losses because of his absence. But that's a surprise too. They looked like a rough team with very few pieces on offense, a good defense. We know about their defense already, but to see them take that step forward, Allen taking some steps. He's not there yet as a passer, but he's definitely taking some steps forward. So I'm not going to fault him for not being flawless in his second season like a lot of people do. Another disappointment would have to be Cincinnati. I know they suffered injuries along their offensive line, but if you watched that game last night, I struggle to believe that offensive line is going to solve all of their problems. They can't stop me, and they don't have a quarterback and maybe not even a play caller at this point who can help mask any of those deficiencies along that offensive line. I didn't see many quick hitters, and I didn't see Andy Dalton getting rid of the ball with any type of urgency. They didn't operate with any urgency, and they were down by a sizable amount pretty early in the game, and they were going and huddling up even late in the fourth quarter. That's something that you can't see. And that to me falls on coaching. That's the coach needs to be on the sideline telling these guys, hey, let's get it in gear, get to the line, call a play, snap the ball. We got to get some points on the board. We didn't see that, and I'm leery that we'll see anything different from the Bengals going forward. There was that picture of AJ Green on the sideline who was recovering from an injury, looking fed up. And just, he had one of those looks like, whoo, get me out of here. Calgon, take me away faces on. And that led to some speculation that maybe AJ Green might be the next player in this newfound era of players demanding to be traded in light of bad starts for their team. Sitting at 0-4, Cincinnati has to be feeling like this could be a very, very long season. There are some more winless teams, and that actually brings us on to the next one. Who gets off the schneid first, right? So far for winless teams, you have the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals, who we just got done talking about, the Denver Broncos, who are 0-4 for the first time since like 1999. I feel bad for them. Vic Fangio is their head coach, their new head coach this year. He was the defensive coordinator here in Chicago for 4 years, so grew very fond of Vic and what he is capable of. Unfortunately, that team is just the cupboard is pretty bare in terms of talent along that offensive line. The secondary could use some influx of talent, linebacking group. Vic is a miracle worker with defenses, but he's got to have some pieces to work, some pieces. And they just lost Bradley Chubb to a torn ACL for the rest of the season. So blow after blow, and they just can't get off that over. Hopefully it comes soon. I'm not sure if it will, though. In the NFC side, you got the Washington Redskins and the Arizona Cardinals as the lone winless teams. Now, Arizona is 0-3-1. Remember, they tied with the Detroit Lions. So who gets off first? It's not a very promising group. I don't think it'll be the Dolphins. I can see the Jets, but that largely depends on when Sam Darnold comes back and gets healthy and in the flow of things. Cincinnati, for all of their offensive line troubles, like I said, they still have skill position players. Maybe not now. They just lost John Ross for multiple weeks. AJ Green's still not back, so they're down to like Auden Tate and some other guys that we've never heard of to catch the ball. That's not a good look. So what we saw Monday was probably the best they're going to be for the next few weeks, to say the least, maybe even longer than that, depending on how long it takes AJ Green and then John Ross to get back into the mix. I don't see the Bengals being it. Denver, I want Denver to be the next team. That's probably more of sentimental reasons than actuality. Washington, I think Washington will get off the schneid. They did announce Jay Gruden would be starting Case Keenum or Colt McCoy this week. and he would consider Dwayne Haskins. Once you put the rookie in the game, I don't see any reason, necessity, value, and going back to the ineffective starter that caused you to put said unprepared rookie into the game in the first place. Colt McCoy hasn't even played this year as he recovered from his injuries. And Case Keenum just showed you why he's been on as many teams as he has. Dwayne Haskins is your future, and it's going to be rough, and it's going to be ugly. Maybe this has something to do with the rumors that Jay Gruden could be out of Washington coming up anytime soon. Who knows? But they definitely need to figure something out because it ain't working, and it don't look like it's going to be fixing anytime soon, as beat up as they are. Arizona is probably my other choice to get off the schneid quick, just because at some point I think Kyler Murray is going to figure it out. I don't know what his ceiling would be. He's a very small man. Russell Wilson was the shortest quarterback in the league, and when you see them side by side, Kyler is at least a solid inch shorter than him. So with that poor offensive line in Arizona, it's hard to see them having tremendous success, him in particular, but he's a talented young man. He's a good passer. He's accurate. He's not as fast. He doesn't look as fast in the NFL as he did in college, but that's to be expected. He's playing all-world talent all across the board. But I think at some point they'll figure it out, and I just feel like they'll get it. They have more pieces to work with than, say, the Miami Dolphins or the Denver Broncos. So my choices for getting off the schneid first would have to be the New York Jets, depending on when Sam Darnold comes back, obviously, the Washington Redskins, and the Arizona Cardinals. The order is up. It's a little bit iffy. Looking at the rosters now, it would probably be Washington first, which is weird, but they seem to find ways to be competitive when they shouldn't be. And then the Jets if Darnold comes back, and then Arizona. Arizona's a bad team. They were a bad team last year. They didn't address their offensive line. They just lost Christian Kirk for some time, and they're already struggling to put up points. I just don't see it getting better. I wanted to, and I think they will. They're in that group. You know, the Dolphins will probably go 0-16. Let's be serious. And the Bengals are running that. They're staring that fate dead in the eyes as well. So, in order, as it stands right now, I'll go Washington, Arizona, and then the Jets. Should Darnold come back sooner rather than later, I would probably switch that up to. I want to put the Jets first. That's tough, though. That's still tough. I'll still go with Washington and then the Jets and then Arizona. Before we switch gears officially, and you see the teaser right there, that's going to be our topic when we come back. Take a quick timeout. We're going to switch gears to the NBA and talk about NBA preseason. Don't go anywhere. Triple zeros. Welcome back, Triple Zero, switching gears, man. NBA time, and the NBA preseason officially kicked off yesterday. Woo! Everybody rejoice. We are back in business. The basketball has returned to the land. It kicked off with the Houston Rockets taking on the Shanghai Sharks in an exhibition match that saw the Rockets end up winning by a final score of 140-71. That's funny because, I mean, you know, Shanghai Sharks, man, who best player was Domantas Montejunas, who actually said that he would be interested in making a comeback to the NBA. That's something to keep an eye out on. He looked like a stud for them, though. I'm not even going to lie to you. 27 points and like 13 boards, something like that. He balled out. But the big takeaway, the main takeaway, the important takeaway from this preseason game was James Harden's new signature move. Yes, folks, he's not necessarily ditching the step back three, but he's added another weapon to his arsenal. Let's all hope that we don't have to see it too often because it looks kind of ocky. But here it is, James Harden's new move in all of its glory.
The new move by James Harden.
Season, and here it is.
on the sideline right there, a one-legged three.
Fam, that looks like a move that if somebody pulled it on you in the gym, you want to call someone, or you're just going to close on them next time down the floor. It looks so unnecessary. It looks so unnecessary. And apparently his coach feels the same way. Harden was caught in the locker room afterwards and said that, wow, he knows he's comfortable with it already and feels like he can pull it out at any time. He agrees with his coach that he doesn't necessarily need to add any more weapons, any more shots to his arsenal. Fam, that thing looks painful. The defender didn't look like he knew what to do. Like, is that a walk? What happened? Did he ups and downs? What happened? I mean, look at this. Look at this.
Oh, there it is, the new move by James Harden. And here it is. On the sideline right there, a one-legged three.
Defender put his arm up like, what is he doing? He looked at his feet like, what is that? Fam, if that's the intended effect, it's going to win. That's beauty, because it definitely put a half a hesitation in the man guarding him to step back. What is that? What did James Harden just do? Look, man, I don't know. I don't know. James Harden is out here creating. He got a lot of flack this summer for talking a lot about not winning the MVP and how the media created a narrative around Giannis, and that is why he ended up winning it over Harden despite his 50-point game or his scoring streak and all this, that, and the other. Sounded like a lot of sour grapes. And then when you see him come back with this move, I'm not sure it's going to have the greatest of perceptions around the league, especially if he doesn't play improved defense this year. See, it's always going to come back to, well, Harden doesn't play the other side of the floor. That's a lot of the argument behind why it was Giannis over Harden. So him adding another shot that he's admitted is superfluous, that looks awkward anyway, and is really just excessive, and it's borderline showing off, right? It's more, look what I can do. You know what I'm saying? He's steward in the NBA. I just don't know if that's going to give him an edge. Like I don't know what the end game is, so it's kind of hard to judge it based just off the fact that I saw it and it looks weird and it makes me uncomfortable to watch. I don't know, but he nails it, and his intended goal is to knock that pause in his man guarding him, then success. There is. Although again, this came against a team that his team beat 140-70, so got to take that with a grain of salt. But the preseason brought up another great talking point, and something to discuss here, and that is NBA Finals predictions. That's right. It's the second day of preseason in the NBA. We already making Finals predictions. Well, I don't think that it's going to be harder to predict in the East. The West is going to be, in my opinion, between two teams, and that's obvious: the Lakers or the Clippers. Before the Clippers made any of their moves, the moment the Lakers got Anthony Davis, I made it known that they were my pick to make it out of the West. That's before James Harden. I believe that was before Mike Conley went to Utah. I'm not sorry, James Harden. Before Russell Westbrook ended up in Houston. That was before Mike Conley, I believe, ended up in Utah. And a lot of things shook out the way that they did. Anthony Davis was a Laker, and I made the proclamation that will be the team that comes out of the West. I will stand on that now. I really will. I feel like if any of those two teams is going to have growing pains from all these new pieces coming together, and it'll affect them more, I can see it being the Clippers just because they're two stars who haven't done it before. LeBron has kind of made a career of teaming up with guys, however you want to view that, whatever. But in a vacuum, that is a very valuable commodity or experience to draw from in this situation. He knows how to get guys integrated. He knows how to make guys feel comfortable in their roles and how to accept their roles and excel at those roles. I'm not sure while we saw Kawhi do it, what we saw from Paul George in Oklahoma City was more of him be given a little bit more control as things went along instead of him acquiescing some. Now, you play with Russell Westbrook after being the best player on your team, you're going to acquiesce some anyway. I'm just not sure that he did it with the level that he might have to now with a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who's just as capable of scoring and defending as he is. That's going to be fun to watch, and that's if I can stop just at the Western Conference Finals, it's a battle for LA, and that I cannot wait to see what that is. I really can't. I really can't. Shifting over to the East, though, it's a little bit tougher to pick out because there's been some moving parts. I don't think Boston will make it. I see Boston taking a step back. If you caught my podcast, my appearance on Steven, what the Steven the other night, I told you I see Boston taking a step back and Toronto disappointing a lot of people who think that group can still get it done. I could be wrong. That's fine. I don't think I am, though. I see Philadelphia being in the mix and Milwaukee, but Milwaukee's going to miss Malcolm Brogdon much more than they know, and they're going to regret having Eric Bledsoe when it comes down to it more than they know. Chris Middleton got his pay, so he has to put up like a secondary superstar. But if Giannis hasn't added to his arsenal, his counter to when they lock him up on his first move in the post, if he hasn't added a semi-consistent jump shot, it will make zero difference. Period. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it's going to be. So hopefully hopefully Giannis has figured that out and they can make it competitive. As it stands right now, though, Philly to me is the most complete team. The only guy who was giving Joel Embiid problems in the playoffs last year was Al Horford, who is now playing power forward for that team, which shifted Tobias Harris, who re-signed on a max deal, to the 3, and the team brought in Josh Richardson in that trade with Miami for Jimmy Butler. Harris at the 3 is interesting to me. He's a walking bucket, one of my favorite players. Cold World, one of my favorite players in the NBA since he was with Orlando. Like, seriously, Milwaukee Bucks days, all that. Tobias Harris stand right here. I'm curious to see how he will play the 3 on defense. Al Horford brings the defense, and Josh Richardson is a solid defender as well. Ben is a 6'10" point guard, so we already know what that's about. And Joel can handle his own down low in the paint. Tobias might be the one weak spot in that he won't guard his man on ball as well as probably anybody in that starting 5, but he's going to give his man the business on the other end. So while he's not giving you that eye test defense, he's wearing his man out on the other side. So you're going to have to deal with 25 points. You know what I mean? And hopefully he does a little bit more moving off the ball because he seemed a little bit off or lost without it last season. So maybe another year in with this group of guys, and he'll know he'll find some better spots to be so that the pass can come from Ben at the top of the key or from Joel down low. I am interested to see Ben if he's added a 3-point shot. That's been the talk since he got drafted. Since before he got drafted, he didn't have a 3-point shot. He says that if he's open, he'll take it. We're going to have to see it, dog, because I don't think anybody believes that with what we've seen so far in the NBA. He's taken like fewer than 3 threes or something like that, if that. So right now, I'm going to stop short of going all the way to finals. We're going to probably stick with the conference finals. And because of that, we're going to go ahead and redo this, right? We're going to make it legit. There we go. Conference finals. I'm going to say it's a battle for LA in the West. And in the East, I'm going to have to say it's going to be Milwaukee and Boston. Sleeper teams, Indiana. That's my sleeper team in the East. And, of course, I think the Bulls are going to sneak in. But that's a conversation for later this week when we do the local version. I think Indiana, if Victor Oladipo is healthy, they got Brogdon, they got TJ Warren on the wing, and then they got those twin towers, Domantas Sabonis, and they got Miles Turner in the pivot. Those 2 bigs are interesting because neither one of them are a threat from outside. They both are. Miles can shoot a little bit, but neither one of them are really threats from outside, and they're one of the few teams who feel like they can still run the double bigs, the true bigs in today's NBA. Spacing could be an issue, but they up 3 guys are pretty good on the perimeter. The where it really comes to the question is when Vic has the ball because he likes to probe. He's an attacker, a downhill type of guy. The lane's going to be kind of clogged with those 2 down there. So we'll see how that works if they stagger their minutes a little bit more, whatever the case may be. They also have a third guy. They got Jeremy Lamb from Charlotte. I wonder how he's going to fit in between really heavy. You got Aaron Holiday at the point, Malcolm Brogdon at the point, Victor, and then Jeremy Lamb. I guess those 4 just all rotating in between those 2 positions, but I'm not sure you want to. Maybe it's more of preserving Vic coming off that injury, but I just don't know how Lamb is. You're not going to be able to get all 3 on the floor at the same time. I don't think. Maybe you can put Brogdon on somebody to guard the 3, but that's less than ideal. And you definitely don't want to put Vic on anybody a size up or a position up. And I'm not sure how Lamb would handle that either. So that's my sleeper team, though. It's just I have to see how they're going to mesh on the floor first. They always find a way. They're a gritty team. Nate McMillan is a solid coach, and that's a surprise. The rest of the playoff field, you got your Brooklyn Nets and I don't know if the Magic are going to make it again. I'm going to go ahead and say. I'll say the Magic get replaced by another Florida team this year in the Miami Heat. How's that? And the Bulls, I think, end up edging out Detroit. Even though I like Detroit's pieces, I don't think Detroit's pieces actually work together. I don't think they have enough shooting. We'll see how that goes. So I think that the two teams that fall out completely as of right now would probably have to be Orlando, and nobody's going to like me for saying this. I think that Toronto's going to fall out too. Just going to put that out there right now. Detroit, I picked Detroit. That would be the easier one. But if I'm going surprises here, like I said, my dark horse to make it to the Western Conference Finals was Indiana. My dark horse to fall out, it's my surprise fallout team is the Toronto Raptors. Moving on to some more entertaining news. Dame Dollars and Shaq Diesel had a rap beef today, or started yesterday when Shaq called out Dame for some comments he made. We talked with the Breakfast Club. I'm not even going to speak, man, because this is just glorious. You go ahead and sit back and enjoy this. This is a brief synopsis, get you caught up to date on the rap beef between Dame Dollars Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers and Shaquille Shaq Diesel O'Neal of TNT at the table with Ernie and Chuck and them. Let's hear what Shaq had to say first.
MVP candidates, you are not one. Platinum plaques on my wall, go and get you some. Lyrically, I'm 3 times finals MVP. I can't believe some guard as a team. How you say that you better than these when you ain't got more cheddar than these? What you talking about? Legendary, I'm a hip-hop scholar. I'm trying to get $1 billion, gives a fuck about $1. Little boys better stay in their place next time they ask you about Shaq, man, fix your face.
Shaq went hard, told him to give about $1. Told him he's platinum. He said he need to stay in his place. Called him a little boy. Look, Shaq went old school with it, and like he said, put him in his place. He went with the check you, respect you, respect the greats. Dame went new school. That's what was most intriguing to me about this. Is you could definitely hear the different eras in each of their flows. This is Dame's response to Shaq.
Dollar. He say he the GOAT, I come for his body. Platinum cause he bought the copies. Should've just passed me the torch, I got no remorse, I beat him like Rocky. I fill the tank up with diesel, you jealous of me and I see you. Cause on this day, originals just can't fuck with this sequel. I'm new school, got new hits. Space Jam, not blue chips. Hangman, yo shoe shit. Dame 6.
All right. So I'm going to just tell you right now, I think Dame won. First of all, the picture is hilarious. That's the Shaq eating the wings. It became a meme and everything. That picture is hysterical. Dame wins picture. He wins the presentation. The quality of the audio was better. Dame stepped in the studio. We know Dame is serious about his rap career. He mentioned in the lead up to the beginning of the Shaq version, he played the clip from the Breakfast Club where Dame says when people think about Shaq rapping, they think about like that. Shaq rapping. He said he's a rapper. So, may not think of him that way. I still see him as Damian Lillard and he raps. But that is what it is. I lyrically too, Shaq went check mode. He went, hey, respect. Like I said, Dame kind of went disrespectful. Told him his shoes ain't on nothing. He said he fills his tank up with diesel and that he's jealous of him. And oh my gosh, I don't know, man. Shaq had the champion, the MVP. Like I told him, he said, MVP candidate. You aren't one. It's tough, but like I said, Dame's presentation, the picture is hilarious. The quality of the audio, and when it comes on the flow, I guess the flow is really a toss-up depending on what style you like more. I kind of have to go with Dame on this, though. Even if we're just going off of that, 2 out of 3 categories went to Dame. I'm impressed, and that really doesn't shock me. Dame is a very good rapper. He mentioned that he's got like 3 songs. He's declared himself the winner, by the way. He's mentioned that he's got like 3 songs with Wayne that nobody's ever heard before. Damian Lillard takes his rap career very serious. So that led me to wonder if he's the best rapper of all time in the NBA. And that's a quick no. Now, if you want to say Damian is the best lyricist in the NBA, Dame Dollars, best lyricist in the NBA, I might be able to get on board with that. But the best rapper in the NBA is Percy Miller, better known than most of you out there as Master P. If you don't know, you need to go Google. Master P drafted, played, and then went to become a mogul in the music business. That's the best. that is the best, right? Best rapper. When I think of rapper, that's all that it entails. That's entertainment. That's all that, that's everything. Master P built an empire on his own, independently. Dame is a great lyricist, might be the best lyricist ever in the NBA. Marvin Bagley's nice too, but he's not on Dame's level, not at all. KD and LeBron tried. They had that back and forth song back. That was a little weird. That was a little weird to hear both of them rapping. Dame's hot. Dame's got some heat though. So I don't know, man. I think I have to give him the best lyricist right now. Currently playing, he's the best rapper in the NBA. MB35 tried to give him a run for his money. Marvin Bagley out there in Sacramento. Dame took it though. Dame is serious. He's one of those guys that when his career is over, I could easily see him making the transition and nobody would even bat an eye because he's been doing it and been doing it well. The subject matter is always interesting to me when you hear pro athletes rapping though, because it's usually never anything that's in the typical rap song, but it knocks. So, you can't beat it. In a related topic, my favorite basketball type player, I don't know. I would had the potential, we'll say, the Davies and then the the Stallies of the world. Those are two rappers. If you don't know about their history, Davies grew up with KD and Mike Beasley, right? Like that's a weird. Imagine that trio running the floor. And then you got Staley, who was part of Rick Ross's Double MG back in the day. He was also had some NBA talent. It's just weird. Like I said, Dame said that when people thought about Shaq, they thought about Shaq rapping. They didn't think about a rapper who could play basketball. He framed it as though people see him differently. I'm not so sure that that's the case. Either way it goes, Dame has solid bars. Shaq still came with it. I just don't know if Shaq is I just think Dame is ready. Dame is a rarefied athlete who can rap and rap well, right? He doesn't just rap because he has access to the equipment, the beats, and all that kind of stuff. He's actually a very good rapper. That's going to do it for this episode of Triple Zeros, man. If you want to get at me, please do. I'm at Josh G. Buck on Twitter. You will see that also in the final. Until next time, man, I don't know what else to say. I think I said about everything I can say. I'm about to tuck it out. I don't know about you. Till then, though.